Yo, welcome back to a brand new video here on the second channel. Today we're going to be taking a look at some new cards that got revealed in our set, Clayburst, and I'm excited to take a look at them here. We did get a ton of new cards revealed last night, some new EXs, some new items, and some new Pokemon. A new Special Energy also got revealed, which I'm excited to take a look at here. If y'all are excited for the video and want to support on the content on the second channel, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Let me know what you think of the cards down below. But yeah, the rest of Clayburst and Snow Hazard have been revealed. We can take a look here at some cards that we didn't already see yet. So I guess we can start with this Vespiquen here. Double stab, 30 damage, flip 2 coins, does 30 damage for each head, and then raid command. For 1 grass does 120. You shuffle a bench Comfey and all cards attached to it into your deck in order to do this attack. So 1 for 120, you shuffle a Comfey in. Kind of cool. Maybe if it did more damage, it would have been a little bit better. I don't think Vespiquen is going to be too relevant. It is a cool attack, though. They've always made pretty unique Vespiquen cards, though, I will say that. New Abomasnow here, too. With the ability Catastrophic Freeze, damage cannot be healed from any Pokemon. So, a Pokemon that prevents healing isn't bad. Healing right now is not super special, though. I know, like, Serena sees a little bit of play right now to kind of counter Lost Box, but healing is not that important right now, in my opinion. So, Abomasnow is just kind of mid at best. It's not terrible. Again, being able to prevent healing is okay. There are matchups where that could be good. Maybe against, like, Gardevoir. Like, if anything, this card would see play is in Lost Box, so that you can, like, still use Sableye. They can't heal around the Sableye, and that's, like, the only real benefit of Abomasnow. You know? New Serena. During your opponent's next turn, the defending Pokemon can be evolved by playing a card from your opponent's hands. That's interesting. They can always retreat or switch out of it, though. It's nothing too crazy here. We got Bramblegast here. Withering Prison, 80 damage. During your opponent's next turn, the defending Pokemon's attacks cost 2 colors more. So I do like that. You could combine this with Spidops, and you can have a little bit of a control deck here, which is kind of cool. 80 damage is not a lot of damage, obviously, but again, when you combine this with, like, say, Spidops, you can give them a pretty tough time to attack. So I kind of like the Bramblegast. It's not a bad little control-y card thanks to Spidops. I think Spidops, EX, and Bramblegast could be a fun little combo to try out. It does work with the new Special Energy that we're getting in the set. The new Scramble Energy works with Double Turbo, so all things to keep in mind with this card. Next up here, we got Woshon. We've already looked at that. Some cards we already looked at, like Azumarill. I don't think we've looked at this yet, but it's not very good. Slam, like, yeah, no. We got a new Ice Cube. Is it as good as the other Ice Cube? Well, it's got Ice Block, 100 damage. Discard all energy from this Pokemon. During your opponent's next turn, this Pokemon takes 100 less damage. So, kind of a bit of a wall basic. I can actually see the usefulness of this card against Lost Box. Like, in a Baxcalibur deck, you can do 100 damage. You can play the Pogo Articuno, so you can one-shot Cramorant. So if your opponent's, you know, kind of on that turn, they're not going to be able to one-shot the Ice Cube because you have 210 HP effectively on a basic. So you're kind of a tanky Pokemon. They can't, like, Snorlax you. They can't Cram knock you out. Sableye would knock you out, but that's about it. So this card could be a cute tech card in Baxcalibur, I guess. It's nothing crazy to write home about, but it's cool, I guess. We got Cetitan. We got Cetitan here. Now, this card's kind of cool. It's a Stage 1 Pokemon with 180 HP, so it is hella tanky. It's got the attack Special Horn doing 80 damage, and if it has any Special Energy on it, it does 140 more damage. So, it does, what, 220 damage? Of course, you can combine this with, like, Baxcalibur, and you can play with any Special Energy, too. You can play it with Regenerative Energy, Gift Energy, Lucky Energy, the new Special Energy that's coming out in the new set, the Scramble Energy, which actually would be really good with this card, actually. So, I don't hate it. It's a pretty beefy Stage 1 Pokemon. It's not terrible, to be honest. A lot of people have been saying this could be good in GLC. I can see that. But yeah, I definitely think this card is pretty playable. I don't think it's bad at all. It's a tanky Stage 1, right? And, I mean, I guess, like, this is, like, this one's got 100 HP, too. So, it's not like as much as, it's not as bad as, like, it's not Sableye food as much. You know what I mean? We got Veluza here. Fillet Corkscrew doing 120, and if you have no cards in your hand, this can only be used for 1 energy. So it's very much the new Hisuian Arcanine. You put your hand down to 0, you can attack for a single water. It's nothing too crazy, to be honest. 1 for 120 is a little weak. Of course, you can maybe play Choice Belt, but it's not bad. I mean, it's not hard to get your hand to 0 thanks to, like, Squallbit and stuff, but I don't know if this card is actually that good. Because it just doesn't do enough damage. It's a basic, though, which I guess is pretty decent. And it's got a 130 HP, so it can't be KO'd by Cramorant and Sableye. Maybe it's not too bad. I don't know, maybe. There's Baxcalibur. I've already looked at that. But yeah, we got a new Slowpoke here we can look at before we get to Slowking. Hanging Tail. Flip a coin of heads. You search your deck for a card, put in your hand. If tail, search your deck for a card and discard it. So this could be a cool tech card in like Gardevoir EX. But then we have the Slowking EX here. This is a Terrestrial, keep in mind, which once again cannot be damaged on the bench. But yeah, a Slowking EX. I don't think we haven't had a rule box Slowking card in a long time. I don't think. I know we had Slowking Prime, but that wasn't a rule box. Primes I don't think are rule box Pokemon. Profound Knowledge, 1 for 30. Your opponent's active is now confused. It's okay. I mean, confusion could be decent in some scenarios, but the big thing is its main attack, Wisdom Headbutt. For 2 Psychic, it does 130 damage, and you may search your deck for up to any 2 cards and put them in your hand. So it's like Togekiss VMAX, right? Bit worse. Now, it does work with Gardevoir EX, so keep in mind, you could play this in Gardevoir, which there is benefits to that. It's also got 270 HP, so it's not hard to win at KO, but it's also not easy to win at KO. 270 HP is quite a bit, and again, you can combine this in Gardevoir. I don't hate it. Getting 92 cards is very powerful. We are in a meta where, well, I guess we'll be in a meta where Iono exists. So maybe this card isn't very good, actually. If Iono is going to be popular, this card probably sucks, unfortunately. Because I don't think you can play it by itself, because it does. If it worked with a double turbo energy, this would probably be fine, because it would have just been Togekiss VMAX 2.0. But double turbo rotated, or it doesn't work with double turbo, sorry. Double turbo, I don't know why I said double turbo rotated. It doesn't work with double turbo energy at all. So it's probably just not very playable. Could be okay in, like, Gardevoir. That's about it. Being able to search your deck for any 2 cards in Guardy could be kind of cute. The only problem in that is, like, Gardevoir already has the ability to, like, draw through a good chunk of their deck in a turn. So it's like, I don't know if you even need the ability to grab any 2 cards when Gardevoir can do it by itself with Curlias and Gardevoirs. I don't know. We got a new Gothitelle. Gothitelle's always been interesting. This one has Astrology. Once during your turn, you may look at the top 2 cards of your opponent's deck. If you do, put one of those cards back on top of the deck and the other card at the bottom. So it's literally like Lucky Ice Pickaxe, I think it was. Chip Ice Axe. That's what it was. Chip Ice Axe. My bad. I don't know why I said Ice Axe. It's Chip Ice Axe. That's what the card was called. That card got banned for being a little too good in control. This is like the identical. This is a very identical card. It is on a stage 2, but if anyone wants to play top deck control strategy deck, you do have this. And with Iono coming back, there's reason to like go Iono to like 1 card plus Gothitelle in the same turn, control their top deck, and then maybe try to get rid of that 1 card in their hand. So there is some good things with the Gardevoir with Iono coming back. So there could be some pretty cool combos people could come up with for control, which is scary. We got a new Mimikyu. Already looked at that. It is the new Safeguard Pokemon. New Poltegeist. Antique Collecting. Put up the 2-ending combination of item and tools from your discard in your hand, and then pour tea, put 5 damage counters on your opponent's active Pokemon. So, pretty bad card. We're probably never going to see another good Poltegeist again until they kind of give us Mad Party again, which will probably never happen. That was probably the last we ever seen of that. Yeah, Annihilate BX, we've already looked at that. Sudowoodo, nothing too crazy. We've already looked at that. We got a new Honchkrow here, which doesn't have any text apparently. Okay, never mind. No text in the Honchkrow. Rip. It does something. I don't know what it does. It does 140. I'm not too sure what it does. I'm not too sure on that one. Okay, went to Cerebi. Okay, all it does is 140, and then you have to discard a card from your hand to use the attack. Okay, it's nothing crazy. Yeah, I thought it was some cool card. Apparently not. I thought it was going to be a cooler card. We got Mabosstiff. Comeuppance, 20 damage. During your opponent's next turn, if this Pokemon is damaged by attack, even if it's knocked out, put damage counters equal to the damage you took on the attacking Pokemon. It's cool, I guess. I mean, it could be a weird card that, like, can KO stuff in return. It's not terrible, but those type of effects of attacks never have been very good, unfortunately. New Bronzor here. Draw cards to have the same number of cards in your hands as your opponent. So if you're playing a Bronzong in your deck, this is maybe the now new optimal Bronzor to play. And we got new Bronzong, Extra Sensory. If you have the same number of cards in your hand as your opponent, you do 90 more damage, so you do 160. For 2 metals, that ain't terrible, actually. That's a pretty strong attack, actually. New Corviknight, Acceleration, 50 damage. If your opponent is knocked out by damage from this attack, prevent all effects of attacks, including damage done to this Pokemon. That's kind of cool. Again, with like in a world of like escape rope and stuff, I don't know how good this will really be, though. We've already looked at Caparaja EX. Got a new Orthworm here. If this Pokemon has 3 more energy on it, it gets 100 more HP. So 230 HP on a basic with 3 energy on. It's pretty cool. I think that ability does work with that special energy too. Keep that in mind. And then you got Shoot Through doing 100 damage and 30 damage to one of your opponent's bench Pokemon. I mean, it's a pretty underwhelming card. The ability is cool, though. You can play this with the Cape of Toughness coming back. So, I mean, in total, you can give this thing plus 150 HP, so that's... Maybe this isn't too bad. I mean, its attack is a little underwhelming, but you can play this with the Cape of Toughness reprint and its ability to give it 280 HP in total, which is honestly kind of insane. Maybe it's not too bad, actually. I've already looked at the Dunsparce. We've looked at Pelipper. New Slacking here. Back to bed. During Pokemon checkup, this Pokemon's asleep. You flip 2 coins instead of 1. If either of them is tails, it still stays asleep. So, kind of a mid card. It's basically just like the Snorlax, obviously, but it's not a basic. It does do 240 for 3 energy, though, so it is a pretty strong attacker. It can one-shot some EXs. Defiant Band, it can one-shot EXs with 270 HP. I mean, it's not a terrible card. Again, its ability is a little sus, though. You'd have to play a lot of Switch in your deck to make this card consistent. It does hit pretty hard, though, which is nice. We've already looked at Squawkabilly, Super Rod reprint, Motivational Lemonade. We've already looked at that. Looked at Grusha. Looked at that. Snowman of Disaster. We've already looked at that. Reversal Energy we've obviously looked at. Great new card. Then we got Clayburst here. We've already looked at some of these. Spidops. New Spidops is kind of cool. Entertainment Trap. Each player shuffles their active Pokemon or cards attached to it into their deck. So it's pretty cool. If your opponent has like a big wall in play or like a big threat in play with like a bunch of energy on it, you can shuffle both into the deck and reset it. Now, it is for 2 grass. This does work with Cherrim, though, so keep that in mind. You can use Cherrim to accelerate energy to Spidops, so could be kind of cool in like a Cherrim deck. So tag is kind of cute. Again, if your opponent's got like an active in, you know, they got like a big threat in the active spot, you can just shuffle it back in the deck, and resetting it could be pretty deadly. So Spidops is kind of cute. You can go like Spidops into like a Klefki, because you have to promote a Pokemon. You go like Spidops, promote a Klefki, or promote the new Mimikyu or something. And then have like another, like, you can have like a Regidrago in the deck, like a really strong Pokemon that can knock out a basic V when they try to get that thing back into play. That could be kind of an interesting strategy. We got new Camerupt, Eruption, 50 damage. Each player discards top card of the deck, does 100 for each energy discarded. So this could do 250 damage potentially, but your opponent has to discard energy. You could combine this with Gothitelle that we just looked at. You could play a card that controls your opponent's top card, so you can guarantee an energy, and then you just have to play like a switching cup or something, and you could do 250 damage. You can combine this with Rapidash, maybe to do like 280. And it's kind of cool. It does a lot of damage, and a lot of damage for 2 energy is pretty good. It does work with Basin and Armor Rouge, too. Then we got a new Talonflame here. If this Pokemon has any damage on it, this does 90 damage, 90 more damage, so I think we've already looked at that, though, already. Some of these I can't remember. We've already looked at Shaiyu. Raichu we've already looked at. We looked at the new Luxray, new Pincurchin, Static Sizzle, 100 damage for 1 energy. You can only use attack if this Pokemon used Stun Needle during your last turn, so you have to go Paralyze into Static Sizzle, which is interesting. I don't think it's very good. We've looked at Belly Bolt already. New Wigglytuff is kind of cool. So it's got the ability Balloon Therapy. Once you're in turn, you may attach a Therapy Energy from your hand to one of your Pokemon. This actually is a cool ability. So the new Therapy Energy, we will look at in a minute. It is not the greatest energy. I'll use spoiler alert. Therapy Energy is not like insane. But an energy acceleration is energy acceleration nonetheless. And there is some merit to this card, in all honesty. It isn't that bad. Again, being able to accelerate energy is still a good effect, and I can definitely see this seeing some bit of play. Wigglytuff isn't that bad. We got Palossand, does 80 if the stadium in play, does 160 damage, does work with the new special energy. Keep that in mind. I think we've already looked at all of these two. Already looked at that. A few things we're missing here, because we can go back to Cerebi real quick to find it. I think we're in, what, Clayburst right now? We can find out what it is on Cerebi if Pokebeach doesn't have the scans. Yeah, Tyranitar. So that's what we're missing. Tyranitar. Let's see. So new Tyranitar. It's got Route doing 30 damage for each of your opponent's bench Pokemon. So strong attack. And it's got Dread Mountain that does 2 for 230. Discard the top 4 cards of your deck. Cool card. I mean, we've seen these type of Tyranitars. I mean, it's like Tyranitar V, right? It does a ton of damage. You have to discard top cards of your deck. So there are trade-offs to that, which is kind of cool. So not a bad card, I guess. Or maybe it is a bad card. We got a new Weavile, Assault Hunt. Once your turn, when this Pokemon moves from your bench to the active spot, you may switch one of your opponent's bench basic Pokemon with their active Pokemon. So a built-in like Gust like that is pretty strong. You could play this as a Gust card. You could even play it with like Snorlax. I guess you can't see that because the card cavern symbol's in the way. I apologize for that. But yeah, when you move it from your bench, you can get a free Gust on a basic. And that is pretty strong. It's not bad. Weavile has had these type of interesting cards in the past. They're kind of continuing the tradition. What does this do? As long as this Pokemon is in play, during checkup, heal 20 damage from all your Pokemon. Oh, we've already looked at this. Yeah, we've already looked at this. All right, back to Poke Beach. Yeah, I've already looked at him. All right, cool. New Passimian, nothing too crazy. New Carbomidable isn't really that good either. I've already looked at Tinglu. We just looked at Sableye, or Weavile, and Tyranitar. Maybe we did look at those cards. I don't even know, honestly. We got Girafarig. Now, this is an interesting card. This actually got revealed the other day. It's got Colorful Graffiti. For 1 dark, does 4 damage, discard any number of basic energy from your hand, doing 40 for each type of basic energy. So it's like Smeargle, but for 1 dark energy, and it does more damage, because it does 40 times. I guess Smeargle did 30 plus, but 40 times is a lot better. And I don't hate it. You can play this with Energy Retrieval, and you can play it with Eldegoss, so this could be a fun little rogue deck that can hit pretty hard. Can do a lot of damage. You can take one-shots. You are a dark Pokemon, too, so you do get the benefit of being a dark type against something like Gardevoir and Mew VMAX. So don't hate it at all. Don't hate it. Kind of cool. We got a new Noivern EX. This is kind of the big card people were talking about yesterday. A new Noivern. So this is the first Dragon Pokemon in the Scarlet and Violet block that's been revealed, and it's actually kind of good. We got Covered Flight. Does 70 damage. During your opponent's next turn, you prevent all damage done to this Pokemon by basic attacks from basic Pokemon. So, obviously, it is insanely good against Lost Box. And then you have Dominant Echo for Psychic and a Dark. During your opponent's next turn, they can't play any Special Energy or Stadiums from their hand. So, both attacks are kind of insane. This is very similar to Noivern GX. Item Lock, Noivern GX did Item Lock and Special Energy Lock. This does Basic Lock and that. If this did Item Lock, that'd be crazy. Now, you could play this by itself. I could generally see this card seen played by itself because it's got 2 really good attacks, and you could also put this in Regidrago V-Star. Now, Covered Flight in Regidrago could be good. I honestly still think Goodra V-Star is a better attack to copy, though, in the matchup against Lost Box over Noivern, because, like, no matter what, you're going to either get Sableye or they're going to go Escape Rope plus Boss. So I feel like at that point, you'd rather just do Goodra. But if you're going to play Noivern by itself, the first attack is kind of good. And the second attack is good, too, against, like, Mew. If you, like, remove their energy, you can just Dominant Echo them and they can't win. Or just any deck that just plays nothing but special energy. Pretty cool card. I kind of like it. Definitely not bad. Definitely not bad at all. Definitely a really strong card, to be honest. I think it's kind of decent. We'll have to see. New Girafarig. We got Furafarig here. Or Furaffer. I'm not even going to bother pronouncing that. Choose either yourself or your opponent. That player will shuffle their hand and draw 4. All right, nothing too good. Got all the new Tandemaus, Mousehold, Flamingo. We've already looked at that. I think there's like one more card here left to look at, and that is, of course, the Therapy. I almost said Rescue Energy. The Therapy Energy. So this is the card that works with that Wigglytuff, right? So as long as this card is attached to a Pokemon, it provides a colorless energy, and the Pokemon's card attached to you cannot be asleep, confused, or paralyzed. So effectively, it can't be affected by any of those special conditions. So not a very good card. Confusion, paralysis, and asleep aren't really that good right now, in all honesty. But this does synergize with Wigglytuff, and that is the big takeaway you want with this card. It does work with Wigglytuff, and being able to accelerate this into play with Wigglytuff is honestly a pretty decent effect. So I definitely could see this card seen some play with Wigglytuff, because you can accelerate energy with Wigglytuff, build up a Pokemon pretty quickly. Maybe you're missing that 1 energy to attack, and then boom, that bailed you out. There's one more card to look at here, and that is Mabosstiff EX. Oh, we got a couple of gym promos. We got Bellybolt. 10 damage. You may discard up to 2 lightning from this Pokemon. Does 80 for each one discarded, so you can do 170, which is cool. But then you have Mabosstiff EX. So got Frightened doing 30. During your opponent's next turn, the defending Pokemon's attacks will do 50 less damage. Meh. And then we got Proud Fangs doing 100. And if any of your bench Pokemon have any damage on it, you do 220. So very similar to, like, Drampa GX. I don't know if this card will be good, to be honest. It doesn't do enough damage, and it's a little slow. You can play it with Gapejaw Bog, keep in mind. And it is a dark Pokemon. Keep that in mind, too. I really like this new card, Atticus. I don't think it's, like, great, but I think it's a really cool effect. You can only use this card if your opponent's active is poisoned. Shuffle your hand your deck and draw 7 cards. That is actually a really strong supporter card. Poison is very limited right now. If Garbodor still existed, dude, if oh my god, if that Garbodor existed, this card would actually be kind of sick. I really like this effect. If we ever get another good poison card sometime in the future, this card could genuinely be pretty good. This card would have been kind of cracked, by the way, if Galarian Weezing existed. I love how they print this card after Weezing rotated. It's kind of funny. I like it a lot. I think it's a really creative supporter card, and it honestly could be decent. But that's it for the reveals, it looks like here. Let me know what you thought of the new cards down below. Again, nothing like too mind-blowing got revealed, but we did get to see some new cards revealed nonetheless, so might see some play in the future. I think the Noivern EX was probably the best card we looked at, and maybe the Wigglytuff Therapy Energy were pretty good too. But that'll be it. Hope y'all enjoyed the video. And yeah, let me know what you thought down below. Leave a like if you enjoyed, sub to the channel if you haven't already, and bye-bye.